We're in the beautiful, beautiful village of Cavendish, and this is the Church of St. Mary the Virgin. And there's the church behind this beautiful Victorian, I guess, wall. And look at the trees, look at the trees and the blossom, look at that. Ah. And these beautiful gates. I hope they're open. Right. There's a pub across the road. Ah, this is a lovely churchyard. We've got paths running in different directions. The one in front of us is going to the porch of the church. To the right here we've got lots and lots and lots of graves. Headstones everywhere, and this selection, which I guess is more recent and people have left remembrance flowers. And to our left we've a little gravel path that goes up past two wheelie bins underneath the tree, happily sitting there. Look at that tree. Ah, it's massive. And this little bench where all the birds have been. Unfortunately that the birds have been on it. There's a headstone there that's been taken over again by nature. And these are all old headstones here.
Susanna, wife of Samuel Thompson, who died August 1841, aged 31 years.
Another sad one, 31 years, not very old. Here's the usual grave that's had iron railings around it and therefore been very difficult to keep up, so all the weeds and everything grow up in them. Lots of them here, beautiful. I mean, they're so atmospheric under the trees, and the birds singing, just beautiful. There we've got the two extensions to the side of the church. There, one's a porch and one is an aisle extension, I guess. Really extremely big tower. The gravel path is going right round the church here. Look at the trees. Look at this. I suspect all these headstones now have been moved, well, they were moved at some point out of the way here, and they're underneath the tree now. The sun's not very strong today. It's got hazy cloud, and I would be raving about all the reflections of light through the trees if we had strong sunshine. Let's have a look at a few of these headstones here. Fabulous. A beautiful sight. So atmospheric. This scene is my favourite in a graveyard. It's just beautiful with trees, shade, light, headstones going in different directions, undergrowth, birds singing. Got trees all around this churchyard. And here on this side we've got, again, you can see the size of this tower. Another 4 square sitting tower, very, very large. And the extension here to the church making this, I suspect, 3 aisles. And then there's an even newer extension here. Prominent position for this grave. This is fairly new. Fairly new. It's a lovely piece of mixed flint work there between napped flint and full flint. It's lovely. Very nice extension, been done very sympathetically. in the style of the church. There's a fairly obvious door that's been bricked in. The circumstances of why that's bricked in, I don't know. It seems strange, doesn't it, to see that. And down here, some nice little windows there, and that's a nice flint wall of this. This is another add-on to the main church. You can see the difference in the flint. And that's nice where they've got the rows of flint. Don't see that too often. See the iron work here, cast iron downpipes, beautiful. That's really nice. Don't see many of those left now either. And at the rear of the church, quite an impressive window here. Just come over to the edge of the... Well, we're over at the edge of the churchyard now, and looking back at this church. This church is bigger and more impressive than I first realized. That's a magnificent rear of that church. Look at that window. And the buttresses coming out at an angle. And the beautiful checker effect with flint at the bottom and on the side of the buttress. That's magnificent. But the trees here, all around this churchyard, there are massive trees. How old would this tree be? 250 years old, maybe, I suspect. I don't know, it's very old. And in the shelter of this tree, there's these lovely headstones. Big grave up here. But, a memorial to the immortal remains of Priscilla J., who is the daughter of Samuel and Mary J. 1805, it looks like.
10 years.
Oh, she died when she was 10. Gosh, that's so much sadness in these churchyards. And just look at the scene here at the side of this church. These rows of headstones and all the patina on them, the birds singing, the railings around some of them. What a fabulous, fabulous scene. The church looks brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Flintworks, magnificent. Look at that. Look at the greenery on that grave. The flintwork is fabulous. It's a magnificent church. This is falling away here. Oh, look. Everywhere I look, I see something that's just so beautiful. So here we've got a path that runs down to the far end of the churchyard. Beautiful houses there. Just imagine the scene in perhaps a picturesque Victorian days. People walking up this path to go to church. Funerals that were held here. Isn't this just one of the most beautiful scenes that we can imagine? Now all that side of the church there is either fairly new or has been cleaned. All the brick at the top. A wonderful church. It's got a clock. It's funny, the porch looks much older and more weathered. I guess all of that part of the church has been renewed. The stone here is fairly weathered. And we've got a perspex or glass, perspex I suspect, screen. This is a very old feeling, but large porch with 4 windows, 2 each side. Plain glass letting in a lot of light. We've got the usual standard black and red tiles on the floor, but very old worn seats here. Public notices, book sale. We step down here to find ourselves in a truly magnificent church. Immediately to our left here is a very well carved font. Wooden top. And all sorts of notices and items on the wall. The floor should be noted that though we've got actually red and black tiles there in very unusual manner, with all sorts of patterning running around the church. Got an area here of notices, and this looks like a war memorial. Let's have a look. Beautiful floor. I mean, it's just, I've not seen this type of tiling for a long time. It's beautiful. The whole church is painted white, which makes it all very bright. Got a glass section here underneath the tower. A whole series of crosses there on the wall. It's unusual. Whole load. That's very good. Now we stand here just behind the tower and look down to the altar area. We see that fabulous window, the size of it. This church is just so big. It's got a large dark wooden ceiling that's fairly flat, and underneath it on each side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side, sets of plain glass windows, and plain glass at the side. In fact, it's predominantly plain glass, this church, and that's why it's so light. The light streaming in down the end there by the altar. Cheerful place. This whole area here is an area for some activity, Sunday schools maybe. Plain glass windows, a little bit of colour up there. Sweet little arrangement of flowers. All the stone here has been painted. This looks very interesting. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. L or GL M 1824. We've got 3 aisles and 4 rows of pews, and these do not look very old in terms of the church. I would think these are 20th century. There's a lot of them. On the right there we've got actually 3 stained glass windows, all different. This one is predominantly plain here. I think we'll have a look at these. That's predominantly plain, lets in quite a lot of light. Got a memorial here. We've got this stained glass window here, which is different to anything that you see normally around here. Lots of colour. Very busy. And then another impressive stained glass window to the side. Is here with flower arrangements. One in a little vase here, which we must have a look at. And here. Sweet little flower arrangement on the pulpit. Lovely little staircase here. We'll go up this to the pulpit. And here we get a view of this very bright, airy, large church. Got a very beautiful lectern here. One of my favorites again is this beautiful candle. I love these candles. Lovely flowers. A little area here, activities. That's a little children's area. And we just stopped for a second to listen to the bells and the chime of 2 o'clock. There's a little piano here. And then a small altar. This is a sweet little area. A large, impressive monument there on the wall. And here at the side we've got a Gothic arched opening with little faces that we normally see on the outside of the entrance to churches. And we look down on the altar now, and unusually we actually step down to the altar. This is beautiful, all the tiles here, and we've got some various different graves here. So who have we got here? This is Elizabeth. She was
truly virtuous and therefore dearly beloved daughter of Mr. Thomas Gray, rector of this parish, quietly departed this life November 1677.
Fabulous words. Typical of the period, I guess. This one here is 1839. Aged 8 months. To this side we've got a lovely organ set back in a little area behind Gothic arch with really big fat pipes. But that sounds really nice when it's being played. All the sheet music is there in readiness. That's beautiful, lovely pipes. And this window, look at the size of it. And it's just so bright here. Tiles are brighter here in front of the altar. Lovely pattern. Beautiful pattern. A little step up to the altar. Looks like a monument or a grave on that side. Small door going to the area behind. We look back down the church. Actually, the fact the walls are painted do actually give it a look of a country church rather than the rather big church that it actually is. The ceiling here is beautiful. It's round instead of the flat of the main part. And then above the altar there's this fabulous painted design. That's magnificent, magnificent. The walls are fairly plain here. And this side has a window, and another one, and another one. But this side has none. Maybe it did have originally before this was built in here. Walk back down the aisle from the altar, remembering to step up this time actually. It's a lovely open church. It does feel more modern. It doesn't feel as aged as others. I suppose it's the light that's coming in, the walls that are painted, and the tiled floors actually. But it looks very busy, lots of activity here. Obviously it's well used, which is good. Lovely. And it's set in the most fabulous, fabulous, fabulous churchyard. This is a very old door. Look at this door. Look how old that is. This door must have been outside in the weathers at one time. There you go. I told you the churchyard is fabulous. Look at it. I've got to have a look at this again. Lovely bench here. I'm going to sit down on this bench for a second, and I'm just going to listen to the birds and take advantage of this fabulous churchyard. The sun is not shining, but how can you not be impressed with this? Thatched cottages just next to the church. So we have a final look at the church here in Cavendish. St. Mary's the Virgin. Listen to those birds singing and the blossom on the trees. I can hear a cuckoo actually in the background as well. Fabulous Suffolk church.